Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today we're diving into something I bet you haven't thought much about. Notebook covers.
You mean those things that keep our pages from getting all bent out of shape?
Yeah, but it's more than just protection, right? I mean, think about it. The cover is the first thing you see.
It's true, it sets the tone for the whole notebook experience.
Exactly. We've got an excerpt here from Notebook Cutter Materials, a guide written for people in the paper planner
That's
business.
like we're going behind the scenes.
We are. It's by Leo Shia, a CEO of a paper product company, so he knows his stuff. And one of the things he talks about is how companies have to balance all these factors: looks, durability, sustainability, and of course, cost.
Kind of like when we're picking a notebook ourselves.
Totally.
Yeah.
We want something that looks good and lasts. And it can be tough to find that sweet spot.
Yeah, and like Leo points out in the guide, if you get a flimsy cover, it can just ruin the whole experience. You get that beautiful journal and then the cover falls apart.
Oh, the heartbreak. I've been there.
It's a bummer. But this guide goes beyond just avoiding a notebook disaster.
Okay, so what else does it get into?
Well, it talks about how the material you choose really impacts the user experience and even how a brand is perceived.
Interesting. So it's about more than just looks.
Definitely. Like if a company is all about sustainability, but their notebook has a cover that screams not eco-friendly,
Hmm.
it sends a mixed message.
Right, that makes sense. Okay, so let's jump into some of the materials. Let's start with a classic faux leather. Now, faux leather used to get a bad rap for looking, well, kind of fake.
Yeah, that plasticky look.
But things have changed, haven't they?
Oh, big time. There's been so much innovation with faux leather. Some companies are using recycled plastic, which is pretty cool.
So it's getting more sustainable.
Yeah, and some are even using plant-based courses,
Mm.
things like pineapple leaf fibers.
Wait, pineapple leaves?
Yeah, it's called Pinatex. And there's even mycelium leather, which is basically made from mushrooms.
Mushroom leather, that's amazing. So you can get that luxurious leather feel, but from a sustainable source.
Exactly. And that's a big selling point for a lot of companies these days. Consumers are much more eco-conscious.
For sure. Okay, moving on to linen fabric. Linen seems to be having a real moment right now. I'm seeing it everywhere. What do you think is driving its popularity?
I think it's that natural feel that people are drawn to. It has that slightly rough texture.
I love that texture.
Yeah, and it's made from flax plants, which are considered pretty sustainable. So it ticks a lot of boxes.
It does. I do have to say, though, I had a linen book once where the cover kind of started to fray and wear down pretty quickly. Is that typical of linen?
It can depend. I mean, linen can be surprisingly durable, but it really depends on the quality and how it's treated. And you're right, it can be prone to staining, more so than other materials.
Yeah, that's a good point. Speaking of durability, if you're looking for something less likely to stain and maybe a bit more minimalist, paperboard is a great option. I know I've gone for paperboard covers before when I just need something simple and functional.
Totally. Paperboard is all about simplicity and affordability. Plus, it's often made from recycled paper.
So another eco-friendly win.
Right. It's not going to be as durable as some of the other options, but it definitely has its place.
Yeah, for everyday use, maybe not tossing it in your bag. It's a good pick. Okay, let's move on to PU leather. Now, how is PU leather different from the faux leather we were just talking about?
Well, PU leather stands for polyurethane leather, and it's basically a more budget-friendly version of faux leather.
So it's like faux leather's less expensive cousin?
Yeah, kind of. It's known for being super durable, and it's really easy to clean.
So a good workhorse option.
Exactly. If you want something that will hold up well, but you're not looking for that super premium look and feel.
Got it. And last but not least, we have cork fabric. I have to admit, I was a little skeptical of cork at first. It seemed a little out there for a notebook cover.
I can see that.
But then I got one as a gift. And I am a convert. It's so lightweight, yet it's held up incredibly well.
Cork is pretty amazing. It's made from the bark of cork oak trees, so it's a renewable resource. And like you say, it's really durable and lightweight.
I'm impressed.
It does tend to appeal to a bit of a niche market, but I think that's part of its charm. It's a way for brands to show off their commitment to sustainability and offer something truly unique.
It definitely makes a statement. So we've covered a lot of ground here. Faux leather, linen, paperboard, PU leather, and cork. Each material has its own pros and cons, right?
Definitely. And it's so interesting how the choice of material goes beyond just the practical stuff.
Like it's a reflection of something more.
Absolutely. It speaks to a brand's values And it also tries to connect with a specific target audience.
Right. It makes you think about your own preferences, too. What draws you to a particular material?
Yeah, it's all about finding what aligns with your needs and values and your style, I guess.
For sure. So let's pause here for a moment. In part two, we're going to delve deeper into that idea. You know, how choosing a notebook cover can be a reflection of your personality and priorities. We'll talk about what your choice says about you and how to find that perfect notebook that truly speaks to you. All right, so we've talked about all the different materials, like what they're good for, what they're not so good for, and how companies think about all that stuff. But let's bring it back to us, the people actually using these notebooks. What does your choice of cover say about you?
That's a really interesting question.
It is, right. It's
Yeah,
easy to just grab whatever looks cute or is on sale.
totally.
But when you think about it, the material you're drawn to, it kind of says something about you, like your values and maybe even your lifestyle.
You're right. Someone who is super eco-conscious, they're probably going to be drawn to things like linen or cork.
Makes sense.
And if you're all about that really premium, luxurious look and feel, then maybe you're reaching for the faux leather.
Right. And if you're just like, give me simple, give me functional, no frills, then paperboard is calling your name.
Totally.
I have to admit, I do love a classic minimalist paperboard notebook. There's just something so clean and straightforward about it. But I've also got a cork notebook that I absolutely love. And I think that speaks to, my love for unique, sustainable materials.
I think it's also interesting to think about how the material actually impacts how you use the notebook.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, a soft textured linen cover, that feels totally different in your hands compared to a smooth, sleek, faux leather cover.
Yeah.
It almost makes you want to write different things in them.
Absolutely. If you've had a really durable PU leather notebook, you might just jot down quick notes and to-do lists. But if it's a beautiful linen-bound journal, that might inspire more thoughtful reflections, maybe some creative writing.
It's like picking the right friend for your thoughts.
Uh-huh.
Each material has a different personality.
I love that.
So, when you're trying to choose that next notebook, what are some things you should be thinking about? I mean, obviously, there's durability and how it looks, but what else should people consider?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is just thinking about how you're actually going to USE the notebook.
Hmm.
If you're going to be carrying it around everywhere, you're going to want something that's durable, maybe stain resistant.
Yeah, makes sense.
But if it's just going to live on your desk,
Hmm.
then you've got more flexibility with the material.
Oh, yeah, that's so important. I've learned that lesson the hard way. I had this beautiful linen notebook. It got totally ruined after one too many trips in my backpack.
Ah, that's the worst.
Yeah, it was a sad day. Also, what about size and weight?
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. A big, heavy notebook, one with a thick leather cover, that might be great for journaling at home.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're commuting or traveling, you probably want something a little lighter and more compact.
Yeah, good point. And then there are all those little details like the closure. Some people are all about that elastic closure. Others prefer a snap closure or even no closure at all.
Yeah, it's all personal preference.
And don't forget about color. I mean, some people love bold, bright colors. Others prefer more neutral, muted tones. And color can really affect your mood and creativity too, right?
Absolutely. I'm a sucker for a deep green. It just feels so calming.
Ooh, me too. But sometimes I need that bright, cheerful yellow just to give me a little boost.
Yeah, color is powerful. And with all the choices out there today, you can really find a notebook that reflects your style.
I know this whole conversation has made me think about my own notebook choices differently. I used to just grab whatever caught my eye, but now I'm realizing that it's worth putting a little more thought into it.
It's about being intentional with the things we surround ourselves with.
I like that. So, to our listeners out there, when you're looking for a new notebook, don't just go for the first one you see. Take a minute. Think about what really speaks to you, what feels right, and what matches your style.
Okay, so we've talked about all these amazing materials and how they can reflect who we are. But this whole deep dive has got me thinking, what about the future of notebook covers?
Oh, that's fun. Where's your head at?
I was thinking, what if we could take personalization even further? Like way beyond just choosing the material.
Okay, I like where this is going.
Imagine being able to customize the color, the texture. Heck, maybe even add your own designs or artwork right onto the cover.
Whoa. Like a completely unique notebook.
Exactly. Some companies are already doing a bit of customization, but I'm talking next level.
Yeah, I'm with you.
What if you could upload your own design? Or pick from a library of textures? Maybe even work with an artist to make something totally one of a kind.
That would be incredible. And honestly, the technology is there.
I mean, with all the advances in printing and stuff, it's getting easier and cheaper to personalize things. Imagine a notebook cover with your own photos, or a favorite quote, or even a pattern you designed yourself.
That's what I'm talking about. And it could go beyond just looks, too.
Oh, tell me more.
Different textures for different uses, like a smooth, wipeable surface for a work notebook, or something soft and textured for a journal, maybe even a grippy surface so it doesn't slip out of your hands.
It becomes a tool that's totally designed for you.
Exactly. It's pretty exciting to think about where this could all go. But even without all that futuristic stuff, I think this deep dive has been really eye-opening. It's made me realize how much thought goes into choosing a notebook cover.
It's true.
It's not just about grabbing the first thing you see, it's a choice. It reflects what we value and what we want to put out into the world.
Well said.
So, to everyone listening, take a look at your own notebooks. Do they spark joy? Do they inspire you?
Yeah, think about it.
Do they reflect who you are or even who you want to be?
Maybe it's time to shake things up a bit. Try something new.
That's what I'm thinking. Well, that wraps up our deep dive into the world of notebook cover materials. We hope you've learned a thing or two. And maybe you've even gained a new appreciation for those everyday objects we sometimes take for granted. Until next time, happy writing, everyone.